everybody! Today we're going to talk about a new book called The King's Fifth by Scott Odell. This book took place in the age of the Great Exploration, when ships sailed off European ports to explore unknown regions for trade. I like how the author converts the past and the nowadays together to make a wonderful story which is compelling. From a ambitious, glory-seeking young cartographer, Esteban Sandoval, our main character, aboard Captain Admiral Alarcon's ship, is about to join the crews of Captain Mendoza, arousing a mutiny. Joining the crew of Captain Mendoza, they sailed off to the far lands of Hawaii. On the way, risky dangers took two of their lives. Looney's eaten by sharks, and one of Alarcon's sailors being killed by the tornado. Passing a few cities, finally coming to Nexpan and Torquay. In Nexpan, Zuniga was killed by a roar of fire sprang upon him, like a fire-breathing dragon, swallowing him in a whole bite. Next, the four companions came to the city Torquay, where they found lots of gold in the deep end of the lake. Getting out the gold by digging out the dam. They left the city and traveled on their way towards Hawaii. On the way, unfortunately for Mendoza, the most ironic part, I think, is Mendoza's death, for he was eaten by his own dog Tiger, who he is trained by himself to be a fierce attacker and a fierce opponent. After his death, a strange thing happened over Sandoval. Our main character, from an ambitious-seeking young cartographer, became, as according to Zia, another Mendoza, for he wanted all the gold for himself, jealous and selfish. This of another Mendoza, who Zia hated. Zia decided to go away because of Sandoval's strange habits, leaving Father Francisco dealing alone with the jealous Sandoval. They carried on with the gold. Halfway they stopped. Father Francisco always insisted to bury the gold, but never one time did Sandoval listen to him. Finally, after Father Francisco was killed in a sandstorm with his eyes blinded, Sandoval finally understood why that it was all the gold that made all the problems, made all the people die, all of them greedy, like Zuniga, Looney, swimming for their lives, all that died because of gold. All of the characters in this book are greedy, like when it was said San Juan de Ulloa in Veracruz, New Spain, the jailer of Sandoval, Don Felipe, wanted a map for himself and to find the gold for himself and for the king. And the three judges, who was said to be like three bald-headed vultures standing there doing nothing, calculated all the golds on the trial, also with the royal fiscals, and even Gamboa, his counsel, even appears to say that I have some sisters and brothers that are sick, and my dad whose leg is limp, and said that if I had this amount of money, I would have bought a big mansion and things like that. After the trial, after this his journey, and on the trial with Zia on Sandoval's side, Sandoval learned that Rowa was killed when he invaded Hawaiiku, killed by stones thrown by Indians. Then basically the story ends here, but just a little bit which really interested me is when Captain Martin, the fortress's leader, like the whole captain of this whole leader and like the king of this fortress, finally revealed that he is also greedy by saying that last sentence. He said, "Give me a map, I'll find the gold and we'll share between us." Sandoval finally learned that all of the persons in the fortress was greedy and thought that Father Francisco was right. I should have buried the gold, or all of them wanted to get it, and I'll be in deep trouble. So basically the story ends here, and I think the author also described some brilliant unknown natures, and I'm going to read you some of the bits. Here's one. There we found a rampart of rocks, shaped like a great sickle. Below its rim, as if sheared off in one mighty stroke, the rampart fell downward for more than a league. At its foot was a wide bench covered with stone that had fallen from above. A pine which grew then seemed no larger than a bush. Many leagues away at the eastern boundaries of the abbey stood the scarlet cliffs we had seen at dusk. And there's another one that I liked. The base of the mountain was covered with patches of pine and aspen, but halfway up the tree ended in purple cliffs. The cliffs were curiously shaped, and as I looked at them against the pale sky, they seemed to form the outlines of a ship afloat on a purple sea, moving into the west under full sail. Oh, and his redemption, the last part, was when he said this, when he wrote the last paragraph. I'll read it to you. Yet 3 years is a long time. He was in prison for 3 years after the trial because he buried the gold for some reason. Much longer than I pretended to Zia. I will be 20 years old when the door of my cell opens and I walk through it and up the 12 stone steps. This meaningful sentence meant a lot to the readers and to everybody who read this book. They finally understood why gold is not important and all of kindness and love is the most important part. And I think this is my book review, and I'll see you next time. Bye!